Ladies and gents, welcome back. Well, it's always good to know that someone has your back, and especially when they're in a position of influence. And, well, what am I talking about? Well, I put this out on Twitter yesterday. Well, I know where my domestic travel dollars will be going, and this is in response to Mr. Alexis von Hoensbroech. Now, who's the man with the complicated name? He's the CEO at WestJet. WestJet, of course, is one of the big players in air travel in Canada. Air Canada is not the only player. They're just one of many, WestJet being another big player here. Now, the CEO took to Twitter to say vaccine mandates for air travelers and employees need to be dropped, as vaccines are not preventing the spread of the virus since Omicron. There is no more logic to maintain it. This will also relax some of the operational challenges at airports. And this was in response to an article from CTV News here that COVID-19 border restrictions will be extended for another month. Amazing. And I was just thinking as I was saying that, there's this other thing here where Theresa Tam, of course, the health czar of Canada, she's the health authority to the Canadian public. She says what is and what isn't the truth, according to us, had this to say about airlines and, the spread of viruses on them.
Air passengers contracting COVID-19 on commercial flights.
Yeah, so there's been very few reports, extremely rare reports actually, of transmission aboard aircrafts. And I think we are learning more and more about some of the technologies, if you like, in terms of the ventilation and the way that aircraft ventilations work is actually, the modern aircraft is actually really good in terms of air exchanges and the way that the airflow occurs in the cabin. So there has been a few reports, but actually very, very little. I think we continue to ask provinces to report to us if you've seen reports to actual positive passengers, but have not demonstrated an actual transmission on board the aircraft itself. We have not received that kind of report. But
wow.
The other thing is that in that setting, there are ways in which you could put in procedures like mask wearing. People are sitting facing the same direction with seat
Okay, either way, she's not coming up with any evidence for the fact that transmission is occurring on airplanes. So this is, again, a further thing. I just thought of this as we were doing this, putting this video together here. Now, Mr. Alexis von Hoensbroech, obviously taking a stand here, but this is kind of the first step in the right direction. So he makes a stand here, and well, now he's first to market, essentially. So he's come first to market, and a lot of people will end up following that lead, because I think a lot of loyalties are going to be going towards WestJet moving forward. As I said here, that I know where my domestic travel dollars will be going. So that's definitely a situation here. Now, it comes after news of the opposition motion to remove travel restrictions being denied in the House of Commons. Now, it got put to a vote, and it came down party lines. So, essentially, COVID restrictions, while the world has let up COVID restrictions, in Canada, we don't follow the science, we follow the politics, and we follow what the political parties are doing. And because we have the Trudy Juggers, the juggernaut, as you might call it, coalition majority, you can see exactly who voted in which direction. We have the yays to remove the restrictions coming from the Conservatives, and the nays coming from the juggernaut, the Trudy Juggers coalition NDP Liberal Party. Now, Trudy was asked after a session, well, why are we keeping these in place? Because it doesn't seem to make sense. And this is how he replied.
Is, as much as people would like to pretend we're not, we're still in a pandemic. There are Canadians who die every single day because of COVID-19 in our hospitals.
Just a second. The rest of the world's no longer in a pandemic, according to the rest of the world. But apparently Canadians are still in a pandemic because we all know the endemic stages the flu's endemic. It's been an endemic forever and people die in the hospitals from that. It's tragic every year, but that doesn't mean it's a pandemic. But here's Mr. The Science himself telling us how this goes.
We're still at risk. We're particularly at risk as fall approaches of new variants. We need to make sure we're doing everything we can to keep Canadians safe. And I know people are eager to get back to things we love. But what will also further damage our tourism industry is if we get another wave, if we get more serious impacts from COVID. That's why every single time we have been anchored in science. We're reflecting on what the best way to do to make sure that we can get back to the things we love as quickly as possible without putting ourselves at risk.
Anchored in science. What science? What science are we looking at? Because it's clearly not the science of the rest of the world. So the rest of the world is moving on and lifting travel restrictions everywhere. But the Trudy Juggers coalition is steadfast in their resolve on making sure that Canadians have the hardest time traveling and foreigners coming into Canada as well. There's a lot of people that want to see the beauty of this country and are unable to, or are limited in their capacity to do so. But yeah, me replying to this is the most unscientific BS from the most despised prime minister in Canadian history. Of course, interesting response here from Jesse Bourgelas. Sorry if I mispronounced that. With that level of logic, in quotes, COVID still poses a threat to every country. He's basically saying no other countries should have lifted restrictions. What a clown of a PM we have. He is our right honorable PM. Yeah, absolutely. So that's where we are today in Canada. We are at the mercy of political players. We're not at the mercy of any actual facts or any actual things that are causing us trouble. We're at the mercy of political players. And for economic reasons, like economic things, like we have obviously the CEO of WestJet speaking out because his company's losing business. And this is something we need to get back to normal, not this new normal that we've been told about from certain global entities around the world. But yeah, Canadians are hoping to get back to normal. We've been fighting for it, and there's more people joining the fight every single day. And I'm proud, and I'm very anxious and excited to see where this is gonna go. So let me know what you think. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. If you're not subscribed to the channel, do that now if you can. There's a little button over there. And like the video. We'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.